My name is Onyie. I am a junior, and I don't really have a major yet, but it would either be economics or political science with like an emphasis in like political economy. So. And then I'm on the track and field team here, and I throw hammer and discus. So for gender, I'm a female. As for race, I like to say that I'm Nigerian American, but one thing that I think growing up here, like you're just black. So my parents are Nigerian. They were born and raised there, and then they came over here. So I like to say I'm Nigerian American. And then as for what is it, sexuality, I would say I am a heterosexual. I would definitely say here that our status as as students is overlooked in the campus or in the classroom setting. I think I will just sit, or like once I tell people that I'm on the sports team or some sports teams here, like they just kind of write me off as just another athlete who just got in here on a free ride, and that's not the case at all. As for like my education, like I was a walk-on to UW, and so I was admitted into UW for a whole month before I even considered joining the track team or got on the team. So my education was a big reason as for me coming here. Like this place wasn't my first pick, but the only reason why I applied here was because I knew that I would get a good education for a good price, so that's kind of why I ended up here. So I always wanted to not let my athletic goals get in between my education aspirations. And so, although I say that, I think it's harder said than, or easier said than done. Sorry. And so I think once I got here and I kind of realized that I had some potential with throwing, that like my education and my goals for what I wanted to do with my career and major kind of got sidetracked. And so now I'm kind of refocusing, but definitely it's just hard being like coming into a school where there's so many people around you, and there's, especially being an athlete, there's one group who don't really try and do their work. There is that stereotype that is partly true, but then there's also another group, which is the majority of us, that come in and do our work both in the classroom and on the field. And so it's kind of just placing yourself with the right amount of people and like placing yourself with people who are gonna push you towards that way. And so yeah, it's just kind of refocusing and like making that choice for yourself. But I personally put my education over my athletic goals and stuff. I would say my team is more inclusive. It's definitely gotten better over the past 2-3 years. I think initially the team wasn't as close as it has become, and definitely on campus the same thing. Like I think it's just kind of like there's a lot of people here, and so it's hard to feel a part of the whole school as a whole. So you kind of have to create a smaller setting for yourself or a smaller group that you can feel a part of. And so for me, that was obviously like track or being an athlete. And so at first, I would think that like the whole athletic part would be my group and inclusive and everything, and that didn't happen as quick as I wanted it to happen. And so but over time, you just get to meet people, and then you see people often and stuff like that. And then same thing with campus. Like, I don't think it's as inclusive. I think it's very, I don't know the word. It's very like groupy or cliquey, I guess. And so it's just kind of finding whichever group that you like the most and putting your foot in there and seeing how it goes. I don't think so. Well, there's not many, like when it comes to underrepresented students here, it's just like there is that feeling that there's no one else like you or that have the same interests as you. So when it comes to groups and stuff that make you feel included, there's definitely not enough of them, because if you asked any of those students that fall in that category if they feel comfortable here, if they like it here, I think like 8 times out of 10 they will probably say like no. So there's definitely not enough. Like I know the ICC and like the ECC and everything like that, like is kind of where like minority students are to go and kind of have that safe haven. But I know like I've started to go to those places and stuff, and it's better, but I still just don't think there's just a general like all around campus. And even that like the ECC and stuff, it's so far away and it's just kind of like in a corner, and there's only so many students that can go, or like that when it works with your schedule and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard because like I think the microaggressions that I would experience would be things that I find offensive or that I don't necessarily agree with, that like my teammates would say and stuff like that. Like I remember one of my teammates used the term mulatto, and I told him that like that's offensive and that he shouldn't say it. And we kind of got in an argument about how he didn't think it was an offensive term and I did. And so we got in an argument and we didn't really come to an agreement. And then the following school year, he said it again, and I called him out on it again. And then we got into like a bigger argument and it had other teammates involved and stuff. It was like kind of a me against like 3 or 4 other people who didn't think it was an offensive term. And like, I still think it's offensive and you shouldn't say it, but for me, the big thing was like, I already made it clear to them that I didn't like them using it around me. So if they had any, I understand if they don't believe it's offensive, then that's their opinion. But if they had any like respect for me and my feelings, that they would just still not say it around me. And that was my biggest thing too, that like when it comes to those type of things, that you need to start learning and understanding why certain words or certain terms, especially in the context that you use them, how they could be offensive to people and how they couldn't. And so like I haven't really, I don't think, I have probably experienced microaggressions, or not probably, I have definitely experienced microaggressions, but my biggest thing is I'm surrounded by a lot of like white people with my team, and so I just try to call them out on stuff that they say and like try and teach them that like what they're saying is contributing to like a bigger issue that's going on in our country. And like it's just trying to get people to understand that like daily, and that's kind of how my biggest thing when it comes to like microaggressions. So. Bullshit, but like I just think it's a fucking joke because people are like, I really didn't think Hillary or Donald Trump was gonna win. Like I had I kind of knew that he would become the nominee, and I knew that he'd become the nominee, but I just didn't think Americans were that fucking stupid at the end of the day to elect him. And so when I was watching election night, I was really just kind of shocked. It just tells you that at the end of the day, like if you look at what Donald Trump ran his campaign on, it was only on racism. That was the only thing that you could pick out, like spot out immediately. There was no, like, I understand the anti-establishment and all that stuff, but those feelings and stuff towards Hillary Clinton, and I totally agreed with that idea. Like I think we needed a new change when it comes to our politics and our government and everything like that. But it was just frustrating because all that Donald Trump stood for was a platform of racism and bigotry. And so for people to let that slide to the point that this guy is elected is just like disgusting. And like it's just crazy to me that alone didn't end his presidential campaign. Like like the day that he called all Mexicans rapists and criminals, his campaign should have ended. The day he said that we should ban all Muslims from entering this country, his campaign should have ended. The day he went on national TV, the 3 days that he was on national TV at these debates generalizing the black community as people living in poverty and crime, his campaign should have ended. When he was like disrespecting disabled people, women, like his campaign should have ended on many, many different terms. There's a recording of him saying that he grabs women by the pussy. That is not acceptable. And for women to still come out and elect this guy is just like, it's just dumbfounding. Like you really don't understand that. You actually, no, not don't understand. You start to understand how deep racism still runs in this country and how stupid people are and don't understand the true problems. And it's interesting too that people are ready to elect someone like Donald Trump for, like, especially working class people, because they thought for whatever reason that this guy was going to bring them the jobs and the economic opportunity that for whatever reason they didn't think Hillary Clinton was going to bring them. But they also don't understand that Donald Trump is the other half of the establishment that he was against. So you have the political part of the establishment that no one liked, which Hillary Clinton represented, but we also had the corporate part of the establishment that is is just as involved in the problem that our country is in right now. And Donald Trump is is the definition of that establishment. So for people to be that fucking dumb and still elect someone who's going to do the exact same thing as Hillary Clinton just doesn't make sense to me. And then on top of that, this guy ran off of racism. So you guys elect someone who's not going to get you the jobs and the care and the things that our people in this country really need. And then, on top of that, he's persecuting and scapegoating an entire demographics and putting all of the nation's problems onto minorities. This shit looks like Germany, like, you know, this looks like Nazi America. And, like, it's just interesting that people I don't know if people don't realize it or they're blind to it, or they're just, like, it just shows you that there is a lot of internal issues and problems in this country that I guess just came to surface. And, like, my last note is just, like, if you think Hillary Clinton, like, for all the people that are protesting and mad, if you're mad that Hillary Clinton didn't get elected instead of Donald Trump, you are still a part of the problem, because both of them were awful, awful options. And it's not Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump. It should have been, we didn't need any of them. We didn't need those type of people running our country, because look at where we're at. There are people being killed in the street. There are people being denied access to clean water, to basic human rights, but then there are people who are mad that someone would stand for the national anthem. Like, why would you? Like, honestly ask yourself, why would you stand for the national anthem when the whole idea of all men are created equal, that was written in 1765, if I'm incorrect, I don't give a fuck, but, like, written in the 1700s, that shit is not, like, it's still not being upheld. And you're wondering why people don't want to stand for a national anthem when this country boasts itself on equality and freedoms, and the people are crying and can't even give their children like opportunity or even the idea that they can have success or give them hope. And it's just disgusting, because then our country will go and invade all these other countries that are doing the same thing. These other countries might be even better off. The people might like it better than if they were to live here. But we're going to go and insert our foot in stuff that's not even our business, because we can't handle our business at home, and then try and blame people and call them out on that. But yeah, I'm cool. So.
Okay, that was good.